If you're someone who values preparedness, you understand how crucial it is to have the right supplies on hand before disaster strikes. Whether you're preparing for natural disasters, economic uncertainty, or unexpected emergencies, having these essential items can make all the difference between thriving and simply surviving. From food and water storage to first aid supplies and tools, we've created the ultimate guide to help you stock up on must-have essentials that every prepper needs in their arsenal. Before we dive into the list, we want to make sure you don't miss out on future videos about prepping, survival tips, and self-sufficient living. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we post new content. Your safety and preparedness are our priority, and we're here to provide valuable knowledge to help you and your loved ones stay ready. Now, get comfortable and grab a notebook, because you won't want to miss any of these 25 critical items. Let's get started on making your prepper stash the best it can be. 1. Food. When disaster strikes, food is the first thing to disappear from store shelves, leaving the unprepared to face hunger and desperation. Imagine the chaos of empty aisles and barren warehouses, your family staring into cupboards that hold nothing but crumbs. This is why food must be your #1 priority. Hoard it now or suffer the chilling consequences later. Long-lasting options such as canned foods, MRS, and emergency food rations are your lifeline in a world gone dark. These staples can hold you over for months when the supply chains grind to a halt and chaos erupts outside your doors. Freeze-dried foods should be at the top of your list. With a staggering shelf life of 10 to 25 years, they might just be what stands between you and starvation when the clock runs out. Available in cans, buckets, or airtight pouches, these miracle provisions were designed for moments like the apocalypse. They're lightweight, easy to store, and built to outlast almost anything. Exactly the sort of food you need when survival becomes the ultimate game. You cannot wait until the last moment to decide what you need. Stock up now with a mix of foods that cover both your immediate necessities and your long-term survival. Every day you delay is another day of vulnerability, another step closer to being unprepared when the crisis hits. There will be no second chances, no friendly neighbor offering you dinner, and no government truck filled with supplies conveniently arriving at your doorstep. If you want to live, if you want your loved ones to survive, you must act now. Store food while you still can, and when the nightmare becomes reality, you'll thank yourself for planning ahead. 2. Batteries. Imagine a world plunged into darkness, where the hum of machines ceases and silence takes over. Without power, your survival hinges on one thing: batteries. These small, seemingly insignificant items are the lifeline for critical electronic devices. Radios become your sole source of information in a collapsing world, flashlights guide you through the blackened nights, and medical devices like CPAP machines or monitoring equipment keep loved ones alive. Without batteries, you lose all of these lifelines. Can you even begin to imagine the desperation of a situation where a dead battery separates you from light, communication, or survival itself? Preparation demands foresight, and stockpiling batteries is non-negotiable if you're serious about enduring a grid-down apocalypse. You'll need to secure a wide variety of sizes and types to cover every essential device you own. But don't stop there. Chargers, both traditional and solar-powered, will extend their utility when replacement becomes impossible. Batteries aren't just tools in a deeply destabilized society, they're power both literally and figuratively. They can become valuable barter items, worth their weight in gold when others finally realize their scarcity. Now think carefully: how much time do you have before the stores are stripped bare, before chaos descends and people fight over the last pack of AAA batteries? If you haven't started stockpiling, you're already behind, risking a future where you're left helpless in the shadowed remains of what used to be normal life. Don't take this lightly. Batteries aren't just for convenience, they're life or death. The time to act is yesterday. 3. Lighters and matches. When the lights go out for good and the dark world settles in, fire will become your most valuable ally. Without lighters and matches, you risk being swallowed by the cold and unforgiving night. Stockpiling lighters, reliable options like Beep Minis, can determine whether you're prepared to survive or doomed to fail. These small devices might seem ordinary now, but when you're staring into the abyss of a long-term crisis, their value will be beyond calculation. Don't settle for just 1 or 2. Buy them in bulk. Hoard them like your life depends on it, because one day it might. Matches, often overlooked in favor of lighters, are a prepper's essential backup weapon against the elements. They're affordable, effective, and utterly indispensable in situations where lighters fail. Imagine bitter cold rain extinguishing every flame-producing option you thought you could trust. What then? Your matches will come to your rescue, granting you the life-saving warmth and light you so desperately need. Wooden matches, waterproof matches, even plain kitchen matches, stockpile them all. These tiny sticks hold immense power in a world turned upside down. Fire is the foundation of survival, and having multiple ways to start it drastically increases your chances of enduring the unimaginable. Think beyond daily convenience and picture the harsh reality where every spark matters, every flame is sacred. Without lighters and matches in your arsenal, what will you do when the chill creeps into your bones, when darkness engulfs your surroundings, when eating raw or freezing becomes your only choices? Don't leave it to chance. Prepare now, stock up immediately, and ensure that fire remains your loyal companion in the battle for survival. Remember this well: without fire, survival is all but a hopeless dream. 4. Toilet paper and alternatives. When disaster strikes and supplies dwindle, the last thing you want is to be caught without a way to maintain basic hygiene. Toilet paper, a seemingly mundane household item, becomes a highly prized commodity in times of crisis. Its bulky nature might make it seem like a challenge to store, but neglecting to stockpile toilet paper could lead to significant discomfort and unsanitary conditions. Imagine running out and having no viable alternatives. Such a scenario sounds minor now, but in an emergency, it's no less than a nightmare. Septic-safe options, often found at budget stores, offer a practical and affordable way to build your stash without breaking the bank. Underestimating the importance of such an item could leave you scrambling when it's already too late. But what happens when even your stockpile runs low? This is where alternatives come into play. Baby wipes are an excellent substitute, offering a compact and effective way to maintain hygiene. They're versatile, easy to store, and can be bought in bulk, making them a prepper's secret weapon. However, relying too heavily on alternatives could lead to running out of those as well, especially if the crisis stretches on for weeks or months. The absence of proper hygiene products can turn a dire situation into a breeding ground for disease. The truth is, the lack of something like toilet paper can escalate tensions and discomfort, especially among family members stuck in close quarters during an emergency. Don't make the mistake of assuming you can make do without it. Stock up now, while supplies are readily available, because when shelves run empty, it's not the canned food or bottled water that will haunt you first. It's the desperate search for the bare essentials that starts when your hygiene standards crumble. Don't wait. Prepare immediately. 5. Electricity and power backup. When disaster strikes and the grid goes dark, electricity will be one of the first luxuries to vanish, and with it, the comforts and essential functionalities we often take for granted. Imagine facing the dead of winter without heat, the bitter cold creeping into every corner of your home. Imagine darkness swallowing up entire neighborhoods, with no flicker of light to guide you. It's not just about comfort, it's about survival. Without a reliable power backup, refrigerators cease to hum, leaving food and medicine to spoil. Medical devices that sustain lives, oxygen machines, dialysis equipment, or ventilators become useless, potentially turning inconveniences into life-threatening crises. For preppers, securing electricity isn't a convenience, it's a lifeline. This means investing now in systems that will keep you powered during society's most vulnerable and chaotic moments. Solar panels stand as a renewable, long-term solution, soaking up energy during the day to arm your home against the night. Generators, cutthroat and aggressive in efficiency, provide immediate power but depend on fuel, a resource that may become dangerously scarce as desperation takes hold. Fuel itself will become a resource worth protecting, worth fighting over, worth hoarding. But here's the chilling reality: those without power backups will be plunged, quite literally, into darkness and desperation. As days stretch into weeks, chaos mounts, and the unprepared will claw for any semblance of power. Do you want to be one of them? Or do you want to be the one who flips a switch and keeps your family warm, fed, and alive? You have to make the choice now, because when the lights go out and the cold settles in, it will be too late to regret not being ready. Secure your power or be consumed by the storm. 6. Duct tape and repair products. When disaster strikes and the world as we know it begins to unravel, the smallest tear in your supplies or shelter could be the difference between life and death. That's where the mighty duct tape and other high-performance repair products enter the scene. These unassuming rolls of adhesive power are nothing short of a prepper's lifeline, capable of swift and versatile repairs that could keep your world from falling apart, literally. Imagine the panic of a leaking tarp during a freezing rainstorm, or a broken tool handle when you're isolated miles from safety. Without duct tape, you're left vulnerable to the elements and the relentless march of chaos. Don't settle for cheap, flimsy tape when you're boarding windows against a hurricane or sealing off breaches in your airtight shelter. Only the strongest will survive. Stock up on brands like Gorilla Tape, T-Rex Tape, and the infamous Flex Tape. They're built for heavy-duty use and can stand up to the harshest conditions. Whether you're mending torn gear, patching holes in your bug-out bag, or even constructing emergency tools on the fly, these tapes offer reliability when everything else has failed. Utility rolls of duct tape, smaller and portable, can be a saving grace when you're out in the field. Imagine taping a ripped backpack shut while scavenging supplies, or sealing a cracked water bottle just to preserve your precious drinking supply. Without these items, small setbacks can cascade into life-threatening disasters. The world isn't going to hold your hand when it collapses, so you better be ready with the tools to outlast it. If you're not hoarding these repair godsends immediately, you're taking your survival into your own trembling hands. 7 fire starters. When the grid goes down and chaos takes over, securing fire becomes a matter of life and death. Imagine the bone-chilling cold of an unforgiving winter night or the desperation of needing warmth in a world without modern comforts. Without a reliable fire, survival itself becomes a fading dream. Fire isn't just warmth, it's the key to cooking, boiling water, and keeping predators, both human and animal, at bay. Yet many underestimate this necessity until it's too late. Standard fire-starting methods may fail in extreme circumstances. Matches can get wet, lighters can run out of fuel. When the wind howls and the rain beats down, candle flames and weak sparks are not enough to save you. That's why having a stockpile of wax-based fire starters is non-negotiable. These tools are steady, unwavering, and dependable under conditions where everything else seems to betray you. They ignite with ease, burn fiercely, and last long enough to kindle life-saving fires. Without fire starters, you risk wasting precious energy and time trying to fumble with twigs and hope for the best. Time spent struggling to light a fire in hostile weather could mean the difference between enduring another day or succumbing to the cold abyss. Those who fail to prepare will find themselves clutching useless matches as the storm closes in around their camp. Take action now. Hoard wax-based fire-starting products before they vanish. The moment disaster strikes, the shelves will empty faster than you can blink. The world is unpredictable, vicious, and cruel to the unprepared. A small investment today could be the lifeline that saves you tomorrow. Fire starters are not just a convenience, they are your survival insurance in the face of the world's darkest days. Don't wait until it's too late. Stockpile them immediately. 8. Cordage. Imagine a world where survival depends on what you've hoarded, and one item could mean the difference between life and death. Cordage is that item, a lifeline in the harsh chaos of an uncertain future. Every prepper worth their salt knows that when society collapses, you won't have the luxury of running to the store for supplies, and without sturdy, versatile cordage, the very structures meant to protect you could crumble. Paracord, bungees, and jute bank line are not just tools, they are survival multipliers. Picture yourself fending off a freezing storm, desperately stringing together scraps to construct a makeshift shelter. Without cordage, what holds your efforts together? When you need to secure vital supplies for transport or repair essential gear that's falling apart, will you look around helplessly, or will you pull out the paracord you wisely stocked? These are the harsh choices waiting for those who ignore the importance of proper preparation. Cordage is not just for emergencies, it's a daily lifeline in a shattered world. From setting traps for food to crafting tools or fortifying your defense, the uses are endless. And don't be fooled into thinking you'll make do once disaster strikes. Rope and cordage don't grow on trees. When the stores are looted and supply lines are cut, you'll be left with nothing but regret if you didn't act in time. Every strand of paracord and every coil of jute could mean survival when everything depends on your resourcefulness. Do not underestimate the silent power these materials hold. Stock up now, or face a world where even the smallest failure, like a broken shelter or lost supply bundle, could seal your fate. This is your warning: hoard cordage immediately, or suffer the bleak consequences. 9. Candles. Imagine being plunged into an abyss of darkness, the eerie, silent void consuming your home as the power grid goes down. Without warning, you are deprived of the one thing you always took for granted: light. Electricity gone. Flashlights dead, batteries depleted. Now the air is thick with dread and uncertainty. This is why having candles is more than just a suggestion, it's a lifeline. Candles are not only an affordable light source, but they are also one of the most reliable tools in a desperate situation. When the world collapses and chaos reigns, 9-day candles or standard tea light candles can be the difference between managing the dark and succumbing to it. These small, flickering flames can guide you through the night, illuminate your way, or even scare off those who would rather pray in complete obscurity. But don't underestimate their value; they could become your only grip on sanity when fear begins to gnaw at your resolve. Failing to stockpile candles is essentially signing up for unnecessary risk. How many will you need when darkness stretches endlessly? How will you find food, tend to injuries, or defend yourself when shadows dominate your space? The dark isn't just an inconvenience, it's a breeding ground for danger. Tea lights, while small, are valuable in numbers, whereas 9-day candles can burn continuously, offering you prolonged relief. Without candles, survival shrinks to a nightmare. Don't wait until the shelves are empty as others race to hoard the last provisions. Act now, stock up, and ensure that when the sun disappears, you'll have the light to keep hope alive. Because in the darkest of times, when every sound feels like a threat, the glow of a single flame can be the thing that saves you from the abyss. 10 seeds. If you're not hoarding seeds, you're sabotaging your future survival. When the grocery stores are empty and food shipments cease, what will you eat? Seeds are your lifeline, tiny packages of hope in a world spiraling into chaos. Without seeds, you're at the mercy of whatever scarce, rotting scraps happen to remain in the wasteland of a collapsed society. Think about it, those who aren't growing their own food will eventually starve, or worse, they'll come after your resources. Heirloom seeds are particularly vital. Unlike genetically modified or hybrid seeds, heirloom seeds allow you to grow plants capable of producing viable seeds for the next harvest. They are the only option for sustainable, long-term food production when society as we know it has crumbled. You don't just want seeds, you need seeds that will keep producing season after season in the event of total agricultural and societal breakdown. Now imagine a future where you failed to act. Your shelves are empty, your body grows weak, and you're forced to trade whatever precious few supplies remain for food if you're lucky enough to find it. Stockpiling heirloom seeds today means never having to beg tomorrow. Vegetables, fruits, and even medicinal plants can all be grown to ensure that you and your loved ones survive the worst. Seeds are not just tools, they are weapons in your fight against starvation and despair. Time is running out to secure this essential resource. Wars, disasters, and economic collapse don't wait for anyone, and those who hesitate will find themselves helpless. Protect your future before it's too late. Gather heirloom seeds now, or risk a grim fate in a world where nothing is guaranteed except hunger. 11. Bug spray and sunscreen. When disaster strikes and the world as we know it descends into chaos, you'll be exposed to threats far beyond what you can imagine. Bugs and the merciless sun will become unforgiving enemies in your fight for survival. Armed only with your wits and your preparations, you need every advantage you can hoard before it's too late. This is where bug spray and sunscreen become more than just conveniences, they transform into weapons of survival. Picture this: the power grid fails, society crumbles, and you're forced to live in the wild or a makeshift shelter for weeks, even months on end. The buzzing swarm of disease-carrying mosquitoes won't care about your predicament. Flesh-eating flies, ticks brimming with Lyme disease, and infectious insects will close in, turning minor bites into life-threatening infections. Bug spray isn't just a mild deterrent anymore, it's a shield against agony, fever, and even death. Stockpile it like your life depends on it, because one day it just might. And then there's the sun, relentless, burning, unstoppable. Without sunscreen, you're not only risking painful sunburns but exposing yourself to long-term damage like skin cancer or crippling dehydration when water is scarce. The apocalypse will not pause to spare you from heat stroke. Your skin, cracked and fried, will weaken you, reducing your chances of survival. One small tube could mean the difference between a strong, self-sufficient survivor or one bedridden and vulnerable to every harsh element and predator. The time to act is now. Skip these essential items, and you'll wish you hadn't the moment the first wave of blood-sucking insects or the blazing summer sun meets your unprotected skin. Bug spray and sunscreen aren't luxuries, they are lifelines. Stockpile them immediately, or prepare to suffer the consequences of your unpreparedness. 12. Fuel sources. Imagine being plunged into a world without power, no electricity, no functioning stoves, no central heating to protect you from the bone-chilling cold. This is not a dystopian fantasy, it is a reality that could grip us all in the wake of a sudden disaster. When the lights go out and society crumbles, you will not have time to ponder your unpreparedness. Only those who have hoarded the right fuel sources will stand a chance. Propane, butane, alcohol, and solid fuel cubes must be your arsenal in defeating hunger and the deadly cold. These are not luxuries, they are lifelines. Without them, cooking even the most basic food becomes a harrowing ordeal. You won't be able to boil water to purify it or create even a flicker of warmth to stave off the encroaching darkness. The bitter truth is that your survival hinges on stockpiling these fuels while they're still accessible. Waiting too long could mean facing empty shelves and desperate mobs. But do not stop there. You must also consider the harshest conditions a disaster could throw at you. Portable heaters can become the difference between life and death in extreme weather. Hypothermia does not wait for you to fail, it pounces the moment your body drops below its natural warmth. Without fuel and the proper heating mechanisms in place, your carefully laid survival plans could turn into a nightmare. Do not underestimate the chaos that ensues when resources dry up. The unprepared masses will claw over each other for even the smallest semblance of warmth. 13 tarps. Without a doubt, tarps are one of the most essential items a prepper could possess, and overlooking them could lead to dire consequences. When the world collapses into chaos and the luxuries of modern life are stripped away, tarps become a lifeline for survival. These durable, multi-purpose items are indispensable for creating shelter, offering critical protection from the elements in situations where a roof above your head cannot be guaranteed. Imagine torrential rains, relentless snow, or the blazing sun bearing down without a reliable way to shield yourself. The odds of surviving in such harsh conditions plummet dramatically. Tarps aren't just about shelter, they're your armor against an unforgiving world when everything else has failed. When food caches or supplies need protection from the rain and rodents, tarps are there to preserve your lifeline. If you need to camouflage your presence and avoid unwanted attention in a hostile environment, a tarp can provide the cover necessary to keep you hidden and safe. The true terror of not having tarps lies in their absence when you need them most. A leaky roof turning your dwelling into a soggy disaster. A mission-critical supply stash exposed to the elements? These will no longer be minor inconveniences, they will be catastrophic, potentially life-threatening failures. What makes tarps so valuable is their longevity. When stored properly, they can last indefinitely, ready to face whatever cruel scenario the apocalypse throws your way. Don't underestimate their simplicity. Dismissing tarps as just a piece of plastic or fabric could make the difference between surviving and succumbing when the stakes are highest. Secure them now, while you still can, because the moment you need a tarp and don't have one, it will already be too late. Hoard them relentlessly, they may one day save your life. 14. Salt. Salt is one of the most crucial items a prepper can hoard, and its importance cannot be overstated. This seemingly humble substance has been a lifeline for humanity for centuries, used not only to enhance the flavor of food but to preserve it against decay. Imagine a post-apocalyptic world where refrigeration is non-existent. Scavengers are prowling the lands, and every meal could be your last. Without salt, your food supply will deteriorate rapidly, leaving you vulnerable to starvation. Its utility in preserving meats, curing fish, and drying vegetables will become a vital lifeline when chaos descends. More chilling, however, is what happens when you don't have salt to consume. The human body needs sodium to survive. Deprivation leads to debilitating headaches, muscle cramps, confusion, and eventually death. Salt, in this nightmarish scenario, won't just be a luxury, it will be a currency. Think about its historical value, traded and fought over, considered as precious as gold in ancient civilizations. Now project that into a world where society has crumbled. Without salt stored and ready, you may find yourself desperately trying to barter away whatever remains of your dwindling supplies, exposed to the greed and violence of the desperate. Its infinite shelf life makes it a perfect candidate for hoarding, and the variety of its uses is utterly frightening when you consider how devastatingly essential it is. Salt isn't just a kitchen ingredient, it's survival itself. To neglect stockpiling this item in the face of potential disaster is to roll the dice with your future. Be warned, while others panic over scavenging fresh food or water, it may be the shortage of this vital mineral that seals their doom. Salt isn't optional, hoard it and hoard it now, while you still can. 15. Trash bags. Contractor liners. When preparing for the unknown, few items are as versatile and critical as heavy-duty contractor trash bags. These industrial-strength bags, typically 2 to 6 mil thick, can serve far beyond their intended purpose of waste disposal. Imagine a world spiraling into chaos, where sanitation systems collapse and trash piles up, breeding disease. Without proper containment, the situation could quickly turn nightmarish. These bags become your frontline defense against the deadly spread of filth and contamination. But their value doesn't stop at waste management. Contractor liners can be repurposed into life-saving tools. Picture being stranded during torrential rains with no proper shelter. Stretch one of these bags into a makeshift tarp, and suddenly you have a waterproof barrier to protect yourself. Need to gather water in a dire situation? They can hold gallons upon gallons, enough to sustain escape or survival efforts. Their thick material resists punctures and tears, making them reliable in scenarios where failure isn't an option. You could even create emergency bedding or clothing to shield from frigid winds when survival hinges on staying warm. Furthermore, in a world teetering on the edge of collapse, every usable item transforms into currency. Large boxes of these contractor liners will be worth their weight in gold. People will trade essential goods, medical supplies, or even food for something that helps them keep their lives or their surroundings contained and clean. Their utility in countless survival scenarios ensures that these humble trash bags will become one of the most sought-after commodities in a post-apocalyptic landscape. Underestimate them at your peril, because without them, you might find yourself defenseless against the ceaseless horrors of a contaminated, Merciless world. 16 soap and hand sanitizer. When society begins to unravel, disease will inevitably rear its ugly head, spreading like wildfire. Without the safety nets of modern healthcare and sanitation, sickness will become one of the greatest threats to survival. This is why soap and hand sanitizer aren't just items of convenience, they are essential lifelines. A simple lapse in hygiene could turn catastrophic, allowing bacteria and viruses to run rampant among your group. The unwashed hands that prepare food or tend to wounds could be the very hands that bring disaster to everyone around you. Imagine trying to survive in an environment where water sources are contaminated, hospitals are overwhelmed or non-existent, and every surface could harbor an invisible enemy. This is the grim reality a breakdown of civilization presents. Soap and hand sanitizer are the first line of defense against this invisible threat, killing bacteria and reducing the risk of spreading harmful pathogens. If you think saving these items for later is a smart move, think again. The longer they sit without use, the less potent they become. Rotate your stock regularly to ensure effectiveness when you need it the most. Now, consider what happens when these items run out. Stores will be emptied within hours of the first signs of chaos, and desperate people will fight tooth and nail for these vital provisions. Stockpiling soap and hand sanitizer before the tide turns is not just smart, it's a necessity. Failure to do so could leave you at the mercy of preventable illnesses, which spread quickly in survival settings. Underestimate the importance of these humble hygiene tools, and you may find yourself or your loved ones paying a heavy price. Don't wait until it's too late. Hoard these items now, before a single moment of negligence condemns your survival efforts. 17 socks and underwear. When disaster strikes and civilization begins to crumble, basic hygiene can quickly become a thing of the past. While many focus on food, water, and shelter, few truly understand the importance of seemingly mundane items like socks and underwear. Yet, these unassuming essentials could mean the difference between relative comfort and devastating health problems in harsh, unforgiving conditions. Imagine navigating a world where clean laundry is no longer guaranteed, where harsh weather batters your body, and where the simplest infection can spiral into a life-threatening ordeal. This is not a world you want to face without a sufficient stockpile of clean socks and undergarments. Without proper supplies, rashes, fungal infections, and blisters can fester, leading to unbearable pain and potentially debilitating illnesses. Wet and dirty socks, for example, can cause trench foot, a condition infamous for crippling soldiers in past wars. Now imagine those horrors befalling you or your loved ones while you're fighting to survive. Neglecting this basic preparation could cost you mobility, strength, and time luxuries no one has in a crisis. The rule is simple but critical: aim for at least 40 to 50 pairs of socks and underwear per family member. This isn't overkill, it's survival. Cleanliness won't just help prevent infections, it will provide a small shred of comfort in a world where comfort has become a rarity. Stock up now, while the shelves are still stocked and the world still looks familiar. Because when the power goes out, society collapses and chaos reigns, having a stash of clean socks and underwear might just save your life. Don't take this lightly, your future may depend on it. 18 flashlights. When the lights go out and darkness swallows the world, flashlights become a beacon of survival. These tools are not just about seeing what's in front of you, they can mean the difference between life and death. Imagine yourself in a pitch-black environment, where every sound feels amplified and every shadow hides something sinister. Without a flashlight, you're blind and vulnerable, a sitting duck for whatever dangers lurk in the dark. The night can be suffocating, a realm where unseen threats thrive, but a flashlight pierces through it, giving you control, however fleeting, over the menace that lies beyond. A sturdy, reliable flashlight can also serve more than just as a source of illumination. Many modern flashlights double as makeshift weapons, capable of delivering a decisive blow to an attacker or even temporarily blinding them with light so blazingly intense it can disorient any human or creature, giving you precious seconds to act. Whether you're fending off potential dangers in your home, navigating treacherous terrain, or signaling for rescue in the overwhelming blackness, a good flashlight is indispensable. Preppers know that when chaos reigns and infrastructure collapses, light is no longer guaranteed. Batteries, solar-powered models, or hand-crank options should be stockpiled with urgency, for without them even the toughest individuals are reduced to stumbling in the dark. Isn't that the ultimate nightmare? To be vulnerable, unseen, and unprepared? A flashlight isn't just a survival tool, it's a weapon against the encroaching abyss. Hoard them. Hoard them like your life depends on it, because when the world goes dark, it very well might. 19. Bleach and water purification. Water is the most critical resource for human survival, and in an emergency, access to clean water can mean the difference between life and death. Bleach is a powerful tool for water purification, capable of making contaminated water safe to drink. A few drops can destroy deadly pathogens lurking in untreated water. However, there's a chilling truth you need to confront. Bleach has a limited shelf life. Stored incorrectly or for too long, bleach degrades, losing its miraculous ability to protect you from waterborne killers. Imagine relying on it in a dire situation, only to discover it's nothing but useless liquid, a fatal error that could cost you your life. To stave off such a nightmare, you must think strategically. Alternatives like water purification tablets are a must for every prepper. These tablets last far longer, take up minimal space, and are more stable to store. Unlike bleach, which can expire in months, purification tablets remain effective for years. Picture yourself in a post-collapse world where clean water is scarce. Without proper tools for purification, even a single sip of contaminated water could lead to a slow, agonizing demise from cholera or dysentery. The importance of stockpiling reliable water purification tools cannot be overstated. Bleach, though valuable, should not be your sole reliance. Instead, diversify your arsenal with tablets, water filters, and other purification methods. This level of preparation is not an option, it's a hard, brutal necessity. Remember, when disaster strikes, there will be no second chances. Failing to hoard effective water purification resources could leave you at the mercy of one of humanity's oldest killers, dirty water. Prepare wisely, because when the unthinkable becomes reality, survival will favor only the ruthlessly prepared. 20 nails and screws. If you think nails and screws are trivial, think again. When disaster strikes and your home or shelter becomes the last fortress between you and chaos, these tiny but mighty items could mean the difference between survival and catastrophe. Imagine trying to fortify your doors against intruders, patching up a broken roof in the middle of torrential rain, or constructing a barricade to keep predators, human or otherwise, at bay. Without nails and screws, your attempts would be feeble, potentially leaving you exposed to the merciless elements or worse. Stockpiling a variety of nails and screws in all shapes and sizes is not just practical, it's essential. From holding together crucial wooden structures to repairing damaged furniture or fixtures, these unassuming objects become indispensable tools of survival. Don't underestimate the different tasks that might require them. A roof that starts leaking due to high winds? Nailed down. A collapsed door hinge that needs immediate fixing to keep danger out? Screwed back into place. Their range of utility is vast, and failing to prepare in this area could leave you scrambling during a moment of existential crisis. The world post-collapse will show no mercy to the unprepared. Hardware stores will be stripped bare within hours of a major disaster, leaving you at the mercy of whatever fragile structures exist around you. To survive, you'll need to rely on what you already have. Hoard now, and hoard well, because without nails and screws safely stored away, the walls around you could quite literally crumble, leaving you exposed to countless threats. Plan ahead or face the grim reality of trying to hold your world together with duct tape and desperation. 21 Honey. When considering survival essentials, honey is an absolute must-have that no prepper should overlook. This golden elixir is not just a sweetener, it is one of nature's most versatile and powerful resources. Its indefinite shelf life makes it an unparalleled item for long-term storage. Properly sealed honey can last for years, even decades, without spoiling, earning it the reputation of being practically immortal. When all else in your food supply dwindles or goes rancid, honey will stand the test of time. Raw, unfiltered honey isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Beyond nutrition, it possesses incredible medicinal properties that could mean the difference between life and death in a crisis. Its antibacterial and antifungal properties make it a natural wound disinfectant, capable of preventing infections when antibiotics are no longer available. Imagine a post-apocalyptic world where supplies are scarce, and the nearest hospital is a distant memory. Honey can become your lifeline. Consuming it can also boost your energy during physically taxing scenarios, providing vital fuel to keep you moving when your body threatens to give out. But heed this warning: don't trust processed, supermarket honey, filled with artificial additives that degrade its value. Only hoard raw, unfiltered honey to retain its nutritional integrity and potency. One jar of premium honey could mean the difference between surviving the collapse or falling victim to its chaos. Stock up now, keep it safe. Because when the world burns and humanity spirals into ruin, this liquid gold may be all you have to sustain you. 22 Liquor. When chaos descends upon the world and the comforts of modern life crumble, liquor may unexpectedly become one of the most sought-after commodities. Not just a luxury, it transforms into a survival essential with countless uses that could mean the difference between life and death. Stockpiling bottles of alcohol, both large and small, should be a priority for any prepper with foresight. Not only can liquor serve as a powerful disinfectant to clean wounds and prevent infections when traditional medical supplies run out, but its inherent value makes it an exceptional barter item in times when currency becomes meaningless. Imagine trading a small bottle of vodka for crucial food supplies or ammunition. Its worth is immeasurable in a desperate world. Smaller bottles, in particular, are a tactical advantage. Compact and easy to transport, their portability makes them perfect for quick exchanges or bribes. Meanwhile, larger bottles offer longevity, whether for personal usage or to fulfill bigger trade deals in dire situations. Liquor maintains its quality indefinitely when properly stored, making it an enduring resource that won't lose value over time. Yet hoarding it isn't just about practicality. Alcohol will undoubtedly become a rare luxury item, a psychological balm for those grappling with the harsh reality of survival. However, don't underestimate the danger of overlooking liquor as an integral item for your stockpile. Supplies will vanish fast when the collapse begins. Once society spirals into desperation, something as simple as a bottle of whiskey could become a matter of life, death, or betrayal. The unprepared will beg, fight, and steal for what little remains. The liquor you stash today may save your life tomorrow, either by mending wounds, securing alliances, or providing the fleeting comfort of a drink in the apocalypse. Stock up now or regret it when you're left empty-handed in the dark. 23 Fishing line and supplies. When disaster strikes and food becomes scarce, fishing can be your lifeline literally. For those fortunate enough to live near bodies of water, the ability to fish may mean the difference between survival and starvation. But here's the chilling reality most people overlook: without the right supplies, your chances of securing food from the water plummet to almost nothing. Imagine standing by a river or lake, teeming with fish, yet completely helpless, because you neglected to stock a simple fishing line or hooks. It's a grim and unnecessary mistake, one that you cannot afford to make. The beauty of fishing supplies lies in their simplicity and affordability. Durable fishing line can be purchased in bulk for next to nothing, but its true value is immeasurable when you're forced to rely on it for your next meal. Coupled with a variety of hooks, bait, and lures, you'll have the tools to catch fish in a multitude of conditions, whether you're hunting for panfish in a calm pond or trying to reel in a larger catch in moving waters. These tiny, lightweight items are easy to store yet critical for survival. Without them, all that water filled with untapped protein and sustenance becomes a cruel reminder of what you didn't prepare for. The harsh truth is that the unprepared won't last long, especially when food supplies vanish from store shelves and nature becomes your pantry. Imagine the desperation of facing hollow days and sleepless nights with no food in sight. If you don't act now, the tools you need may become impossible to find when chaos breaks loose. Prepping your fishing supplies today ensures that you'll have the means to fend for yourself tomorrow. Don't leave your survival to chance. Hoard fishing lines and supplies immediately. 24 Repair and maintenance tools. When the world collapses and chaos reigns, the ability to repair and maintain your surroundings could mean the difference between survival and disaster. Without access to stores or markets for replacements, your existing tools will become priceless. This is why stocking up on repair and maintenance tools isn't just a suggestion, it's a lifeline. Imagine facing a broken shelter wall or a crucial piece of equipment falling apart. Without the right tools, you'll be left helpless, watching as your security crumbles around you. A well-stocked toolbox must include essentials like multi-tools, hand tools, knives, wrenches, hammers, and screwdrivers. These are not items of convenience anymore. They are required to build, repair, and sustain your fortifications against the encroaching threats of a post-apocalyptic world. You need quality here. Cheap tools will fail you at the worst possible times, leaving you with nothing but shattered metal and regret. Invest now while there's still time. The critical necessity doesn't end with just one set. No tool lasts forever, and damaged tools could leave you stranded in a crisis. Stocking multiple sets ensures that replacements are at hand when something inevitably breaks. Supplies will run dry fast when civilization collapses, and tools will become a rare and coveted treasure. Neglecting this preparation step could leave you defenseless in a world where adaptability and problem-solving are key to staying alive. You can't afford to go without a proper set of tools. Every broken piece of gear or torn structure could be an insurmountable obstacle without them, exposing you to dangers from the elements, invaders, or even the slow decay of time. Act now. Stockpile repair and maintenance tools today, or face the heart-stopping reality of being left entirely alone and unprepared when the world turns dark. 25 Ammunition and projectile supplies. When disaster strikes and survival becomes your sole objective, you cannot afford to overlook ammunition and projectile supplies. Without them, you risk being defenseless against both human threats and wild animals, as well as unable to secure food to sustain you or your family. Imagine a night where danger lurks just beyond the tree line, shadows shifting with malevolent intent, and the only thing standing between you and an attack is empty hands or an empty weapon. This is the grim reality for those who fail to stockpile these critical items. Ammunition and projectiles such as arrows, bolts, slingshot ammo, darts, and bullets are not merely tools, they are your lifelines. They ensure that you are equipped not only to hunt but also to protect. Supplies like these will dwindle quickly in a crisis, and restocking might become impossible as chaos spreads. What happens when local stores are stripped bare, or when the supply chain collapses entirely? If you're unprepared, you'll find yourself at the mercy of others, or worse, at the mercy of fate. The chilling truth is this: your weapons are worthless without what powers them. A bow without arrows, a slingshot without ammo, or a firearm without bullets is nothing more than dead weight. Hoard them now, while you still can. Stockpile enough to last you through countless hunts, countless defenses, countless uncertainties. Time spent gathering these supplies now could be the difference between life and a slow, horrifying downfall when the world around you crumbles. You must ask yourself, are you ready to stare down the approaching storm, prepared for anything, or will you be another helpless victim of unpreparedness? 26 Feminine hygiene products. Diapers. When disaster strikes, the last thing you want is to find yourself or a loved one without essential hygiene products. Feminine hygiene products and diapers are not just convenience items, they are lifelines for maintaining dignity, sanitation, and health in an unpredictable emergency. Water sources could be contaminated, supply chains severed, or stores looted within hours, leaving shelves barren of these critical supplies. Without these necessities, individuals are left vulnerable to infections, discomfort, and serious hygiene-related diseases. This is not a gamble you can afford to take. For women, running out of feminine hygiene products during a crisis would be nothing short of a nightmare. Improvised alternatives, such as unsanitary cloths or paper, put one's health at grave risk. Meanwhile, families with infants or disabled adults relying on diapers face an equally dire situation. Imagine the chaos of trying to keep a baby clean without disposable diapers. The infections and health complications that could follow are horrifying. The emotional toll of such a scenario could compound the stresses of an already grim survival situation, threatening the morale and unity of your family. The scariest part? These items disappear quickly when panic sets in. Think about it: would you risk sending a loved one into harm's way to scavenge for supplies in a city gone feral? Stockpiling an adequate supply of feminine hygiene products and diapers is not optional, it's a necessary insurance policy for your health and sanity. Don't get caught vulnerable when the world collapses. The clock is ticking, and when the shelves are stripped bare, the consequences will be brutal. Hoard these items now, because once they're gone, there's no turning back. Your future survival and comfort depend on it. 27 Zip ties. Zip ties might not seem like much at first glance, but these small and unassuming tools are absolute lifesavers in emergency scenarios. When society collapses, chaos reigns, and supplies become scarce, the versatility of zip ties could be the difference between survival and disaster. These durable straps of nylon can act as makeshift repairs, help secure vital gear, and keep your environment organized when everything else falls apart. Imagine a situation where you're trying to outlast a power-hungry mob or secure your last remaining provisions from desperate looters. Zip ties can quickly secure doors, gates, or even improvised barricades to keep intruders out. Their strength and reliability make them an irreplaceable ally when you need to fortify your home or temporary shelter in a moment's notice. Don't underestimate the power of something so small they could save your life when there's no one else to help. Beyond defense, zip ties are invaluable for organization in high-pressure moments. Whether it's strapping together loose cables, fastening weapon holsters to a backpack, or keeping essential tools in place for rapid use, these lightweight and portable tools can adapt to almost any need. They're your unyielding ally when duct tape falls short or rope frays under pressure. The frightening truth is that emergencies don't wait for you to prepare. When chaos arrives, it will be merciless and fast. Stockpiling zip ties in various sizes and strengths today ensures that, when the time comes, you'll be equipped to face the harshest of realities. Trust in these seemingly insignificant tools to secure items, solve problems, and buy yourself precious moments in a world gone mad. Do not delay, your survival may depend on it. 28 First aid. When disaster strikes, injuries are inevitable, and your ability to respond quickly can mean the difference between life and death. A well-stocked first aid kit is not just a convenience, it is an absolute necessity for survival. Picture yourself in the chaos of an emergency, where medical help is non-existent, hospitals are overwhelmed or unreachable, and your loved ones are depending on you to keep them alive. Without the proper supplies, even a small wound can turn into a deadly infection, spiraling into something far worse. You need to hoard first aid supplies and do it now. Don't settle for a cheap kit with a few bandages and antiseptic wipes. You need the real deal, a robust stockpile for both minor injuries and severe, life-threatening emergencies. Tourniquets, medical tape, sutures, antiseptics, burn remedies, and large sterile bandages are absolutely critical. Imagine a cut so deep it won't stop bleeding or a broken bone piercing the skin. Without the right tools in those moments, survival is not something you can count on. But don't forget this chilling truth: your supplies are worthless without the knowledge to use them. Learn emergency medical skills, practice controlling bleeding, cleaning wounds, and splinting fractures. The reality is harsh and unforgiving. If you don't prepare properly, you will watch as what could have been a survivable injury becomes a fatal tragedy right before your eyes. Time is running out. The world doesn't give second chances when chaos reigns. Stock up on first aid supplies now, while you still can. When everything crumbles and terror grips the streets, you'll thank yourself for taking this step, because in those moments of desperation, your preparedness could be the only line between life and death. 29. Oral hygiene. When disaster strikes and the world descends into chaos, oral hygiene might not seem like your top priority, but that assumption could be dangerously wrong. A minor toothache can quickly spiral into a debilitating infection without the proper care, and in a survival scenario, there may be no dentists available to help you. Stockpiling oral hygiene products is not just about fresh breath, it's about protecting yourself from pain, disease, and even life-threatening complications. Without proper dental care, bacteria can fester in your mouth, leading to gum disease, abscesses, or even severe systemic infections. Toothbrushes and toothpaste will be your first line of defense, and having a surplus is essential. Don't gamble on improvising. There will be no convenience store runs when societal collapse occurs. Keep multiple toothbrushes, as these tools wear out, and stock both fluoride toothpaste and mouthwash to eliminate harmful bacteria. Hydrogen peroxide should also be part of your arsenal. This multifunction solution disinfects, helps with oral wounds, and can serve as an antiseptic mouth rinse when diluted properly. It could mean the difference between a quick recovery and a lingering, festering infection. Never underestimate the importance of these supplies. Running out just as dental decay sets in could leave you writhing in agony with no medical rescue in sight. Oral hygiene is crucial for your survival and long-term health when every day becomes a battle to stay alive. A neglect of dental care could prove fatal in a post-apocalyptic landscape where medical help is non-existent. Protect yourself by hoarding these critical supplies now, because when the end comes, your smile might be your only weapon against despair. Final thoughts. Preparedness is the ultimate insurance policy in a world fraught with unpredictability. The 25 items outlined here are not just recommendations, they are lifelines that could mean the difference between survival and disaster when the unthinkable happens. Stock up, stay vigilant, and ensure you're ready for anything that comes your way. Remember, preparation today buys you peace of mind tomorrow. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more survival tips and strategies. Stay ahead of the chaos, your future depends on it.